so many shticks. I have too many shticks and not enough content. Three, two, one, and we're live. Team Cave Dweller, hello. Oh, whoops. All right, let's do it now. We're live, Team Cave Dweller, and it's me loving you in the live stream. In the live time, we are here. And when we get to here, I'll talk about some junk that I'm doing with media. Look at how lopsided and wonky that is. My camera squashes things. When we get to here, I'll talk about current events, but probably not. When we get to here, I'll wrap it up. So we're here. Okay, so that's the beginning. That's the beginning of awesome. Team Cave Dweller, I took a break on Saturday. I just didn't have the heart to put any effort into creating a stream because I just didn't have the heart. I was done. I look at my streams and I think these streams, they're all the same. They just don't have any content. It's just a bunch of me. They all look alike. Cave Dweller, they all look alike. I'm in a little bit of a panic right now, especially considering we don't have any economic cushion. And I have no economic means. You put those two together and it equals panic. Hang on. This episode of the Skrauss Live is brought to you by the Pryor Street Iron Well water from, and this watermelon. The combination of sulfuric iron, watermelon, and this lemon are going to make such a treat, especially since this water was being warmed up in my car all day long as I sat down in front of a computer, somnambulating. I was walking and asleep. I was in an REM state, staring at my computer. And I had a nightmare. And the nightmare was that I was sitting at a computer. But Cave Dweller, I'm no longer at a computer. I'm now in your face. And this is a painting. Let's not work on this painting. Well, okay, let's work on this painting. I know exactly what I need to do on this painting. Can you see it? We can barely make this out. There we go. So this painting. Stand by. This painting is of an interior of a room. Last week I went through and I had a precious item in here. I had the original drawing of the table from the original version of this painting, and I obliterated it with these light brownish stripes in the floorboards. Sitting far away across the room, I realized, it's lighter over there than it is down here. And that made me think this room should be darker than this one. So instead of worrying about this wall, which it still needs shades, I'm going to shade this wall. Also, I drew some lines here to adjust this. Let's start with that adjustment, and then I'm about to make the walls darker in this room, and that should make the painting a little more interesting, even though this is almost directly center. It's just slightly off-center, which in some ways is more interesting than, well, having the focal point just off-center is invigorating in an uncanny way, whereas having it direct center is static. Unless you have a dynamic repetition like a bullseye or a spiral. And those are dynamic, but they're not interesting, if you follow me. Let's see now. I'm looking at my palette for a color to put on. What am I working on here? Oh, I'm going to redo the woodwork. Let's use burnt sienna. The old standby, burnt sienna. Burnt sienna is always standing by. It's always warm on the bench. Burnt sienna is always there for you because it knows it's needed. Burnt sienna knows it's for you and it just waits patiently. Burnt sienna is the savior of your painting. And moments like this when you want to paint wood. When you're painting wood, burnt sienna is there for you. When you want to paint metal, burnt sienna runs away. That's when goddess blue and white show up. All right, here we go. Burnt sienna. I can barely get it out of this tube because it has no cap and it dried. It's when I squeeze it, it all goes shoots back up the back of the tube instead of going out the hole. Oh, here, let's make a bigger hole. That should do the trick. Ramrod. Okay. This brand of paint is. This brand of paint is known for having caps that break, and then when they break, you're stuck fighting with the dang thing because it dries. The tip of it dries and then it plugs up. You know, I may just gash this open, but I may have enough paint on my palette now to. Okay, so what's happening is that plug is coming out. Where's my little knife? There it is. All right. That's mostly hard. Scrape that off, put it aside by this mess. And now it shoots out just nicely. I'll just put it all out because I got to get rid of this. You can tell my paint is old because it has this kind of a consistency where it's more rubbery and less liquid. Oh, well, I shouldn't say it's old. I should say it's like that partially because it's old, but partially because it has no cap and it is drying out. I'm sorry, let's focus this. Okay, there you go. See, you can't really. So, well, whatever. Okay, here we are. Back on my beautiful face. My beautiful face, which makes me a cream puff. Nobody can trust it. Women are afraid. Men are angry. Did I ever tell you about my gut? People are jealous of my gut, but they're simultaneously disrespectful. They see my gut and they're like, I wish I was as skinny as him. And then they see my chest and they're like, total wuss! Get him out of here, he's useless. Women say that, men say that. And especially since I can't talk sports, everybody says that. I can't even talk art. You want to talk about Venn diagrams not intersecting? That's my life. I hate the art world with a passion, and I don't like sports. So where does that leave me? I've got nowhere to go, cave dweller. Nowhere to go. And I can't focus enough on reading to become a philosopher. I don't know. I guess that makes me just like everybody else. But in the world of live streaming and entertainment, it makes me a big fat goose egg. Let's see what happens when I do this. All right, that's better. Okay, this is slightly not better. Okay, there we go. I didn't see how I have a pencil line going right through here, and it intersects that corner. That is the worst thing that could possibly happen. So now I have to make an adjustment on the fly. I don't know how my pencil got attracted to going directly through this corner. All on its own, and I should have seen it forming, but I didn't. Oh, and then it's got to go to here. Okay, so I guess this piece of woodwork ends right there. That's fine. It can do that. It can end right there. It can do whatever it wants. I am not in charge of the woodwork. I'm only in charge of the painting. All right. Let's make it a little... Oh, why am I taking it down so low? I'm following the pencil line. All right. I want to take it here. Oh, cave dweller, I tell you. Sometimes I defy even myself. How does... All right, like this. There we go. And this, get some of this. This is confusing me right now. Maybe you could tell. Okay, there we go. Yeah. Now then, I'll get back to that later, but in the meantime I want to make this room darker. And I would really rather just mix up a color. Look at this. I've added the stripes from the woodwork on the floor here. I'm going to have to paint over that. But I did that because all surfaces are reflective. Anyway, give me some of this delicious mixed fruit hot water. Boiled watermelon. Delicious. Just like Mom used to make. Oh, the days when my brother and I would sit around and reminisce about Mom's watermelon soup, which was not a gazpacho. Perfect thing to warm you up on a cold winter day. Now then, I'm sorry, I was distracted by food. Right, walls. So for this color in this wall, I'm going to use phthalo green, no name brand, phthalo green. Whoops, I don't want to zoom in or out. I want to do this. Back to the drawing board. All right, that's my green. I should really learn to mix green. For some reason, I keep forgetting to do so. Add some Prussian blue hue. Technically, I don't like to mix with that, but here we are, doing it again. Add some white. There's many great colors on this. The walls in here, but I'm tired of layering. The trouble with layering is I'm discovering that there's something I dislike about it. It's not creamy enough, and I want my walls to be creamy. Oh, now that's a creamy blue. Look at that. But I'm going to need more of it. And I want it slightly darker and greener. Therefore, I'm going to add azo yellow orange because it skews red, which will subdue the blue, give it a greenish. The red will subdue the green. The yellow will increase the green. So it will give me a dirty green. There we go. That's more like it. And okay, let's add some magic sauce just for some good luck. Whoa, jeez, it's squirting all over the freaking place. Coming out in the shape of a star. Now, unfortunately, I'm mixing this up on dried paint, so as I mix and as I use this color, it's probably going to pick up portions of paint, which will flake off into this, and that's not what I want. I need more yellow. I'm going to use yellow ochre. Oh my goodness. Can you say it with me? There we go. Now this is kind of a sickly green. Nobody in their right mind would paint their house this color on the inside, the outside, or the inside of the doghouse. Nobody would use this color. They wouldn't even use this color in an institution. Therefore, we are going to use it in the house of Panama Dorado, Black Magician. She's less of a black magician and mostly just a person who believes in magic. I learned earlier this week that magic is one of the developmental states of religion. It goes from magical thinking, to mythical allegorical thinking, to rational thought, which is what we're stuck in now. And all these stages include the previous stage, except for ours, where we made a point to vivisect not vivisect, but like chop off and behead everything before. So all we have is the head, the floating head, the disembodied head. And it's not healthy spiritually or emotionally, and it hasn't worked. Ah, there we go. Look at that. That's what we love to see, my man. We love to see that, my man. Oh, see, that's too bright. I'm going to have to go over this with a darker color. Can you see what I'm doing over there? I don't want to do too much. Getting rid of a few darlings. I had some stuttering moments with the jagged edges of the X-ray bubble. Common comics trope. I like this a lot. But it is a little bit too green. Let's add our white. I'm going to try maximizing the wet on wet techniques here as much as I can with acrylic. Acrylic paint. It dries fast, so you don't have to. I don't know what that means. I'm just talking off the top of my head. This is blending it wet on wet. Now at this stage in the painting, I want to be less sloppy and more careful. So where this edge meets the woodwork at the bottom, I want that to be correct. But this edge here, I'm not that concerned about. I'm not concerned about it because I like the way it looks jagged like that. I may fix that later, maybe not. Here I'm painting over a darling that I left in the last iteration of this painting and didn't seem to be doing anything for me. But I'm still fighting that texture that I put on here in 16. That is 016, the year. Year that will live in infamy. The year I failed as a painter. I mean, I do that every year. This is a little better. I'm obviously going to have to go over all that. But my color is not the darkness that I wanted, so I'm actually going to add black. I want this to be significantly darker. And if I squint, this is slightly darker than that, but this is lighter than that. And this even should be darker than that. Yeah. So I'm going to have to go over everything a second time, and I will probably do it with a glaze of Prussian blue. hue. Maybe mixed with some sienna or something to subdue it. See, so now I have chunks in my paint from where as I'm mixing this with my knife, it's pulling up the paint that was underneath it the dry paint. It just reactivated it just enough to flake off and enter my fresh paint. It's kind of annoying. You should always have a clean palette when you're working in acrylic, and I always intend to, but I almost never do. Using my big brush. Because I want to cover the space. All right. So this is about the color that I want. Not going to worry so much about, in fact, or at all, about artifacts showing through. Just let those artifacts come as they want and be what they want. In fact, I'm going to encourage artifacting as much as possible. When I was working at a radio station, speaking of artifacting, there was a radio show we had on from not Denver, Colorado, the other big city in Colorado. It's called The Art of Family Living. It was a Christian thing. You wouldn't understand. Nor did The Art of Family Living understand. I gotta tell you, there's too much schmaltz going on in the world of Christendom. I keep thinking about this. I keep thinking that cultural Christianity was what drove me away from Christianity. The whole idea that, Jesus sits by your bedside and prays for your soccer game drives me nuts. I mean, show me something realistic, like the Matrix did. Like my real, actual daily life does. There's that famous saying, New Agers use it a lot, let go and let God. I hate that saying because all that ever did was encourage me to do nothing. You can't go through life doing nothing. Just waiting for God to do it. Even Moses didn't do nothing. He actually had to lift his staff over the waters, over the rocks, over the hard places, and make them plain. Don't forget to paint the edge. Painting the top is less important because, one, it's hard to see. Two, it's hard to see on the customer's wall as well, or your wall, because it's probably going to be your wall where the painting is hanging, not a customer's wall. Let's drink to that. Customers, you are our heroes. Lemon watermelon soup, delicious. Some of this color over here. Mixed up so much and it wasn't enough. It's time for the anime review. This is the portion of the Skrauss Live where I try to recall the things I'm binging on Netflix, which is only anime. That's all I watch on TV at all. Well, and those stupid videos, like cat videos that you get caught up with on YouTube, right? On social media. Team Kickballer. I'm watching a thing called, not Dragon Riders, it's called I don't know, something about dragons. They hunt dragons and kill and eat them, and they fly dirigibles. I'm on episode 4 of that, I think. But it's not... I started watching that 2 months ago, and it's not as captivating to me anymore now that I've seen Dorohedoro and 8th Grader Syndrome and other delusions. But I'm watching a thing. It's a movie. I don't know what it's called. Fallen Angels or something like that. And it's about... Excuse me. It's about... a woman who's in... She's had her consciousness removed from her body, and she's living in a Matrix-type world in space. And she gets sent to Earth. She gets sent... They incubate her body until it's 16 years old, and then the body is sent to Earth in a giant robot. And there's a rogue on Earth who helps her out on her mission. So, because there's somebody that's hacking into the virtual reality realm, the one in space, and the government there is trying to stop him. So they send her down. They send other agents down too, and there's some incentive for some reason. She has to be the first to find it. I don't know, but this rogue, because he's a rogue, he does things, he breaks rules, he does things his own way. In fact, right at the beginning, she just shoots up a bunch of monsters, and then he sells the monsters for meat to the rest of the citizens in the area. Then he shoots holes in the spinal column of her giant robot, because that's where the antenna is that hooks her up to the net. And he says, well, we got to do it. Otherwise you'll be detected and people will get the drop on you. Because they know every time they can find you, if they're hacking into your matrix, every time you go to the matrix, they know where you are. They didn't call it the matrix. I don't know what it is. Mainframe? I don't know what it is. Anyway, so who knows how this is going to end. I had to stop watching halfway through last night because my eyes were getting droopy. I just went to bed. Have you ever realized how much time you waste looking at 10-second videos, 30-second videos? You fall down this rabbit hole and it sucks you under. Like that river here in Kenosha that kills people every year. They have an annual feast sacrificing humans to Lake Michigan. But I recommend it. It's not bad. It looks good. It's a fun watch. But it's not Dorohedoro. It's not 8th Grade Syndrome and Other Delusions, which was so adorable and cute. Oh, I saw this one about this girl who turns into a cat. This was the film as well. It's a full feature film. She meets the mask seller, who's a cat. He's like an evil version of Totoro. A shyster version of Totoro, if you can picture it. He sells her a cat mask that whenever she puts it on, she turns into a cat. So she's experiencing life as a cat and snuggling up to the boy in school that she loves. But the boy in school doesn't want anything to do with her. And she finally connects with him, and then he tells her, I hate you. And now she's all distraught and broken up, and she just wants to be a cat forever. And she realizes her mistake. Oh, her house cat that hates her, the mask seller gives the house cat her face. She has to get her face back to become a human again. Meanwhile, the house cat looks just like her and nobody misses her. They think something's wrong, but nobody knows that actually. And how could you ever even suspect that? How could you even guess? She goes to the world of the cats for the festival to get her face back, and they fight the big cat seller and a bunch of other cats who have sold their face when they were humans and regret it to help her out. And in the end, she wins and she gets her face back, of course, and she gets the boy and everything's happy. It's really cute. It's a cute story. I recommend it to all people. Now then, back to work. See, isn't that much better? That's not better at all. This is slightly better. This is somewhat better. I'm going to have to let this dry before I can do anything else. But I saw that from across the room, and I knew what I needed to do, so now it's done. And I'll put this aside. Because if I don't know what to do, I'll just ditz around for hours and then ruin it. Case in point, remember this blast from the past? This blast from the past is a painting that should be finished by now. Something is wrong here. This is too dark. Her hair is too green. The water is no longer blue. I ruined it when I made the water green. So now I have to return it to being blue. Even though this bright blue is here, does it look small? Small, yeah, you can't really make it out. It's all funky. I gotta fix his face still. There's just too much wrong with this painting. I might just dab at it a little bit and then call it a day and get the hell out of Dodge, because I don't know if I'll be able to do anything with this. It might be just beyond hope. But you can't tell if it's beyond hope or not until you do something, until you just give it a shot. I'm going to hit it with burnt sienna. Because burnt sienna, as we learned earlier, is the be-all, fix-all. Eye, shade, ear. Where's the ear? Right here. Shadows. We got this. Lips. Oh, you pretty thing, do 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 do. And add some light portrait pink to it. See if that helps. Sometimes light portrait pink is just what you need to make everything better. Technically, it's time to talk about current events, but I don't know if I'm going to do that because I'm just not interested. I am so focused on getting my own arse out of the dumpster that if the whole world just goes to hell in a basket of dry goods, that's not my concern. And really, what can I do about it anyway? Okay, here we go. Put some lightness on his face. Goes up to here. Alright. That's slightly better. Oh, this is so difficult. You know, I look at these artists on Instagram who do things, and there's this one I saw. You know, when I go down the Instagram hole, sometimes I'm looking at yoga, sometimes I'm looking at animals, sometimes I'm looking at artists who do time lapse. This one guy did an apple with a knife in time lapse, and I just might just draw drops open, and just how they do these things. They know exactly what to do, and they do it right. And oh my God, we forgot to invoke the affectations. Red candle, the color of Ishu Legua, and Saint Expedite, whom I wear about my neck. Saint Expedite, open the doors. Oh, no, wait. Ishu Legua, open the doors, and Saint Expedite, give us the gumption to overcome procrastination. Saint Guadalupe, Senor Guadalupe, I don't know what you're for, but you appeared to Juan Diego and you told him to build a church, so you took care of his father. I don't know. I'm hoping for a miracle is what I'm saying. Miracle us out, homegirl. We need one. Cheers. Now then, he is in brown water because it's brackish because he's in a cesspool. She is the lady of the lake, so therefore she should be in blue water. But it's night, as you can tell by the moon. So what does that mean? What does it look like? Well, there's no colors at night. That's the trouble. So that means I don't know exactly how I'm going to fix this. Where's the edge of the lake? I want to add black. I don't know if that's going to do the trick though. If it's night, why is she so bright, right? Okay, and her hair should be blacker because it's black hair. The green is only on there because for highlighting purposes. This doesn't seem right. Okay, and this guy's hair is a mohawk. Can be brown, I guess, right? Make mohawks brown, right? There sure is a lot of traffic on the street. I notice that every time I'm here painting it, it just seems non-stop. It's amazing. Alright, so now here's where I'm running into problems. Her hair and the water seem to be tell I'm making this up and don't know what I'm doing. That's alright, Cable, and neither do you. Unless you're one of those Instagram people. I don't know. But I want to thank you once again for being here. Oh, let's talk about current events, as long as I'm almost time to wrap it up. Let's see, current events. There was a guy today that I thought was a woman that had too deep of a voice. I thought, this woman, her voice, what a horrible travesty. She sounds like a man. And I looked at her, she looked so much like a man. I thought, what happened to you? Well, it turns out she was a man. So now I guess my question is, what happened to him? That made me, or what happened to me to make me think it wasn't a man? I don't know, but he was, whoever he was really annoying. I was sitting there trying to read, and his voice just went right through my skull, and he wasn't yelling or talking loudly. He was just having a dumb conversation on the phone. Dumb. And he was old enough to know better. So grab your Disco Jesus that you got at the dollar store and insert coffee into his head. Wipe off the dust. And say, Disco Jesus, help that woman, man. But she's one step ahead of the game. She's ready for this century, unlike myself. Some might say I'm ready for the century too because I'm such a girly man. I don't know. Let me see. Okay, so he's getting punched in the face. There's something wrong with his fist. I'm going to leave it. Still, her face is all wonky. I don't know if I fixed the water or not. Maybe it looks better. I'll put some brighter white or brighter blue on there just so that we can get the feeling of water. It doesn't actually have to be blue. It just has to be blue enough. It has to feel blue. All right. Now I'm done with my goddess blue here. You can see that I've cleverly taken all the paint there is to take out of this tube. There's like no room left in this tube. And when I say like, I mean there is no room left in this tube. Oh, I can get this right here. And squeeze. What? Squeeze. What? No, it looks like I got everything out. Then I do it sideways. And I get a millimeter. Get a nice gloop drop. The gloop drop is what you want. That's how you know you're working strong. Can you make anything out of this mess? Look at this mess. All right. Well, this. Ooh. There we go. Okay, so that is done. Now this I throw in here because I don't want the blue to contaminate my. Who am I kidding? I don't care at this point. I'll just wipe it down a little bit. And now I find that tube that has no cap. Burnt sienna. Earth tone red. It's the red of the traditional palette, and I just added blue to it. That is antithetical to what red is all about. Oh, look at this. It's the tip of a paintbrush. Okay, now, what am I in the middle of here? I'm adding some blue to the water to make it look like water. So I'm just using my ultramarine straight in there. And the goddess blue seems to be doing the trick. Up close, this looks like the water is coming out. Far away in that little version that you're looking at, does it look like anything? It doesn't look like much. It looks like this needs more. Banking on the transparency here. As long as I don't know what I'm doing, I'm going to reassert my name on the bottom. Sometimes I sign paintings, sometimes I don't. But I'm feeling like signing it today because of my gender identity issues. Am I a man that looks like a woman or a woman that looks like a man? I don't know, you tell me. I periodically have women tell me they think I'm gay because I'm not constantly checking them out. You're damned if you do, you're screwed if you don't. It's a double standard that these women are putting at you. And then as soon as I say, oh, I don't like that accusation, they're like, oh, I didn't make an accusation. Because you're not allowed to say there's something wrong with being gay, even though it's, let's face it is not the norm. All right, Skrauss. And the year is 20. All right, I think I'm beginning to like what's happening here, even though I don't know what it is. I still have to fix this face. And what is wrong with that face? I can fix it with lines, I feel, but I don't want to make a line drawing. I want to make a legitimate painting, but I might have to do a temporary line drawing because let's look at the palette. Isn't this better than looking at my top of my head looking down? Look at that. Do, 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 do. Just putting paint on the brush. Let's see what we got. Oh, dang it. Advice, don't rest on your painting. All right. Head, ear goes about here. It's got these lines. Gave him big lips, his teeth. All right, can we make that out? Looks like it. Now, for a thug, he's got the most beautiful, brightest, whitest teeth. So much so, people think he's gay. You can have a gay thug. How come you've never seen gay thugs in films? Okay. Teeth getting knocked out. I read Fight Club recently. Oh, let's talk about Fight Club. I finished the book Fight Club last week and immediately took it to a little free library down the block and went the next day. Actually, not even the next day. I went that afternoon and it was gone. The book is in demand. I paid $7 for it. But I've gotten my $7 back out of little free libraries. Thank you, Jesus. The book is better than the movie in that it doesn't end with the terrorist as the hero. People refer to Fight Club and Tyler Durden, the main character, as some kind of freedom fighter. But he's not. He's just a sociopath who sounds great at the beginning. My favorite part is when he makes a connection between soap and human sacrifice. It's very simple. Where they made the human sacrifice, there was a lot of fat that drained across the landscape and went to the river. And then the ashes, rain went through the ashes and created lye, which mixed with the fat and ran into the river and created soap. and people found that they could get cleaner there. So it was from the fat of humans, and that's why they use human fat in Fight Club, but to make soap. But so that was the best part of the book. And at the end, the main character is in an insane asylum. He actually shoots himself, but misses and just blows a hole through his cheek. And I'm reading this book thinking, who would want to be in a Fight Club? You lose all your teeth. You just are constantly bleeding and damaged. Why would you put yourself through that? Although I can understand the therapy of getting in a fight and learning to fight and that kind of physical combat, which promotes bravery and courage and competence. But it's not the situation you want to be in. You learn to be a good fighter by losing fights. And who wants that? That's why I don't know how to fight. I avoid them like crazy. Except on Facebook. Fight Club. But it's a great read. And they didn't blow up any bank buildings. They didn't blow up anything. He murdered somebody in the end. And somebody who was just innocent. They were just a bystander. They were at a dinner theater. So that's the difference. The film that everybody has changed the society and activated the MK Ultra of youth to make them aggressive and self-righteous and doing what they're doing now, burning the city. It didn't exist in the book. In the book, there were repercussions for being insane and being crazy, and Project Mayhem only created mayhem. It didn't create a better world. Well, I'll just leave it at that. And I think that's much more realistic. Although at the same time, you could argue that the author got cold feet halfway through. Like, well, what if this instigates a revolution and then I'll be blamed? Right? He saw where violence would lead, and it doesn't lead any place good. Maybe it feels good at first, but it doesn't end up good. Fight Club, I recommend it. Better than the movie. I recommend deactivating yourself. Watch something after you found Fight Club to be such a cathartic movie and the way you want to be for the rest of your life. Followed up by watching Joker. Go to Netflix and watch 8th Grade Syndrome and Other Delusions. And it's so cute and adorable. What a much better world that would be if we lived in a cute, adorable world of anime. That's why it's so mesmerizing. Okay, Team Capable, that wraps it up. I guess I'm just avoiding painting by talking to you. Do you have any questions? No, you don't, because there's nobody there. That's me. I'm here for you. Nobody. I'm here for you, nobody. Or the future. I don't know if you're the future. If you are the future, I'm here for you. You know what, Cadwella? Remember I tell how much I love you? Well, it's not that I love you, per se. It's that I love the idea of you. Imagine